You can't win where you don't go. I started as a college Democrat of Georgia. I was baptized by fire doing politics in Georgia. And what we did, we had students who were ready to get involved, but the state party didn't have any money, so we went and we knocked on the door of the national parties like, you have to give us money to organize. So we organized and we trained. And it wasn't just in Georgia, it was in Mississippi, because I went to Jackson State. So we went to Mississippi, woo, JSU. We went to Mississippi. We went to places where they don't talk to us. We got blue counties in Mississippi and in Texas and Georgia, but you got to talk to those people. In Boston, for John Kerry's election, we mobilized 2 buses from Florida and Georgia, and those kids drove to Boston to show that they were involved on their own dimes. So that shows commitment, because that's a long bus ride. But them kids are still involved in politics. Well, they're young adults now, but you have to go there. It goes back to recruiting, engaging, and training. You have to tell them the South can be winnable. Georgia's just as winnable as North Carolina, but North Carolina gets more money. Put that same money in Georgia, put that same money in South Carolina. We have to have equal funding. The same money you get in New York that you get in California, put that in Georgia. I'm telling you, if you invest in Georgia and Texas and Mississippi, you will win. We don't have to worry about Michigan going the wrong way. You don't have to worry about Philadelphia going the wrong way, because the South will rise up. If you have me as your vice chair, the South will have representation. Because I'm going to go back and let them know, this girl right here rides for her own.
Now, what does the DNC need to be doing proactively to get out ahead of redistricting and to give members the motivation to participate in this process on the front end?
What we need to do is go back and pull back the curtain and show that redistricting, when done wrong, is a tool of voter suppression. What it does, it packs people in one district and it minimizes their vote. If we put that apart as a voter suppression and make sure people understand what's happening, that gives them information so they can get involved. When I was in Georgia, when I first started organizing, we were doing a voter redistricting campaign. And what we did is we went to the college campuses, we went to across college campuses, we went to the elderly homes, and we talked to people and tell them, this is what's happening. What's happening is that they're trying to pack you in all one district. So that means if you want to have a black congressman, there's only one black congressman out of 12 congressmen in this area. We can't do that any longer. We have to let the people know what's happening, and that means being transparent. That means letting them know. Under Governor Dean's 50-state strategy, there was a state PP, the state partnership program. They actually had make sure that the state parties were all talking in one voice. This is what's happening with redistricting. This is how you talk to on the local level. This is what you do. We got away from that. We have to go back and start telling people, this is how you talk to people about redistricting. It cannot be 50 million words in a small type. It has to be, this is how it's going to work. Talk to people how they understand it. We just want simple. This is what's happening. This is how it's going to affect you. And if you don't get out there and go to the hearings, then your voice will be minimized. It will not matter anymore. Our people are active when we talk to them. Tell them why redistricting matters. Tell them this is another way other than to steal your vote. So before you can even worry about the voter ID law, it doesn't matter, because right now everybody's in the same district, and you're going to have the same congressman, and your district's going to be half the state. We can't do that any longer. It's on us to go into the states and talk to them early. Why are we not talking to them now about redistricting? Like, no, we know that's what's happening. We know the census is happening. Why are we not doing that now? This is voter suppression, and if it's done wrong, we will continue to lose. And when we lose, our communities lose, and we can no longer do that.
This is Nomi Konst with TYT Politics and the Young Turks in the lobby. All the sessions have finished up, and we're trying to get interviews with all the candidates as much as we can for the DNC positions here at the DNC Forum in Phoenix. And we have a candidate for Vice Chair, LaToya Jones. Thanks for joining us tonight.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Now, you are an activist from Georgia, and you've decided to step up and run for vice chair. What inspired you to do this?
Well, it's a combination of things. So, just to be really honest, after the election, I was like really distraught, and my nephew, he's 9. He's like, Auntie, don't worry. No, you're a fighter. You tell us how to fight. No, we're going to win. We're going to win again. And so listening to him, I was thinking, if he's 9, he was like, we're going to win again. Maybe, what can I do? So I was talking to my friends, telling them about the story. They was like, well, your whole life has been training Democrats to run for office, training different Democrats to be involved after losses. Instead of actually training somebody, why don't you step up and do it yourself? And I was like, I'm not a politician. I'm an organizer. It was like, they make the best politicians. So after a lot of thought and like a lot of drinks. I mean,
I'm noticing a trend. A lot of people are saying there's drinking involved.
yes. So then I was like, why not do it? Like, why not me? And I just started thinking about everything I had done for the party and everything the party has done for me. And I was like, okay, this is my way to give back. And instead of giving back in smaller groups, like smaller trains, I can do it on a national level. So it's like my love letter to the party. Like, if you've done so much for me, this is what I want to do for you. So.
Love letter to the party. I like that. We do have some issues in the party.
Yes.
We're hemorrhaging members.
Right.
At least we were before the last election. We have a lot of people who don't identify with the Democratic Party anymore, but they're progressive. And then there are barriers of entry, meaning you got to be able to raise money to run for office. You're an organizer. You know all these things. What are you going to do to address those issues?
Well, a lot of that goes back to actually having basic conversations. I think the problem is that everyone keeps talking about the 50-state strategy, not knowing what it takes to actually get the 50-state strategy. A lot of that work is going back and talking to people door to door, figuring out what they were missing and what they needed. So before we can even think about getting people back involved, we got to figure out what they're missing and what we haven't done. So it's a basic conversation. It's kind of like it's dating. If you have a boyfriend and he never talks to you and he only comes around when he wants something, you're like, that's not my boyfriend. That's some dude I used to know. The Democratic Party is some dude we used to know. So we got to get back to that loving relationship. So
you need a new boyfriend, basically.
Yes.
Can still be tall, dark, and handsome.
Yes.
Believe in the same things. Good.
He can't be cheating on you with everybody and every new thing. And the problem is that we got away from who we were. We got away from how people forget that before we won in 08, we won in 06. And we won in midterms and off cycles in 05. But that was a lot of work. That was us talking to people every day. There was not like, okay, we want to talk to you on 6 months before the election. No, that they knew what we were. If you remember this, cultural corruption, that was a term that everyone used in 06. Now they're bringing it back. Governor Dean came up with that. And everybody in the community knew about it. Everybody was like, oh my God, I know what cultural corruption was because we talked to them. So we have to go back and start talking to them and ask them what they need, what they want. No one goes to the South. So it's not just Georgia, it's Tennessee, it's Texas. Like, if you start talking to them people, we actually can win them people. And most of the South is heavily Hispanic and heavily Black. And they automatically identify with our issues, but we don't talk to them. If we invest half the resources we invest in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, Tennessee, things would change dramatically. And so it doesn't have to be a middle-of-the-line Democrat. It doesn't have to be a conservative Democrat. It can just be a Democrat. Because, a lot of my early career, I was like, I was telling my friend, I'm a conservative. They was like, why? I was like, because I'm from Georgia. They was like, but you believe in X, Y, Z. You're not conservative. You just think you're conservative because everyone told you should be one from the South. So we put these labels on people, and they don't have to be. They can just be Democrats. If we talk to them, they can be actually solidly blue Democrats and vote in and out. So.
I read somebody wrote a blog about this, saying that it's no longer blue dog Democrats versus the progressive Democrats. It's the corporate Democrats versus the 99% Democrats. Do you believe in that?
No, I don't. This is the thing. And I love when they ask about the party, the corporate money and that kind of thing. Everyone wants to put corporate. The reality is that a lot of my friends are in corporate America. But you don't know that their mother was on drugs and that they're from single-family home. If people do well in their job, it doesn't make them evil just because they have a good job and it's in corporate America. This is a misnomer that, okay, if you make a lot of money, you work in corporate America, you can't believe the things that I believe. I don't subscribe to that at all. The reality is that we have to still talk to these issues. We do have some corporate Democrats, but I don't think we have as many as people are trying to make it out to be. There's no big divide. If there's a divide, it's because you want it to be a divide, and I don't see that. My tagline is black tie to fish fry. So I can fit black tie to fish fry. I can fit in and above. So if that makes me corporate on one end, okay, that's fine. But on the other end, I'm just as country as fry grits. So.
What about corporate money in the Democratic Party?
Okay, so that can be an issue, but I don't think it's that much. There is an issue with money from corporations that we don't want to do business with, but that's something that we have to decide, because right now, the last cycle, we didn't take any money for the corporate money for the convention. That was the convention was amazing, but it takes a lot to actually put a convention on and raise that money. So it has to be a balancing act. It has to be figure out a way that we can take the good corporations' money. I would take some money from, let's see, what's the big box, Costco? Because they're good. Sam's Club, no. So we have to figure out, who has our values. And there's a company that has our values, yeah, we take their money. If they don't have our values, no, we don't take their money. So it can't just be a blanket, we hate all corporations, because that's just unrealistic. Because the next chair has to raise $80 million. Now, I don't see nobody write a check for $80 million, so.
What if we looked at the budget? I mean, the budget has been a conversation. If we looked at that budget and we're like, well, do we actually have to raise $80 million, or are we just spending a lot of money in funny places?
Well, I think the reality is that if you want to have a fully funded SPP, then it's probably going to be close to $80 million, because you have some state parties who don't have any funds, who don't have any staff, who don't have infrastructure, who don't have buildings. So that in itself, if you, like, I want to say Mississippi, initially they had like 4 or 5 staffers. I think they had down to 1. So staff, and healthcare, that kind of stuff adds up. So I'm pretty sure, if we're actually going to fully fund state parties, we should be close to $80 million, and then all the other stuff. So, and the staff itself. So you have to make sure they have. So staffing is expensive.
What does a vice chair do?
Well, it actually depends on your portfolio and the will of the chair. So the reality is that we all have these amazing platforms, but if we get elected and the chair doesn't want us to do anything on that platform, we won't do anything. So it just really depends on the direction of the chair. So ideally, if you have a good relationship with the chair, he will let you fill out your platform. So for me, it's about including more people of color, more marginalized people, and more young people, and more trainings. So that's what I want to do, and I will make sure once I win, because I'm claiming this victory, that the chair knows I want to do that. And I probably could do it with or without the chair's consent, but that just makes bad politics and bad business. So.